Hi, how you doing? I hope you're well. I'm talking today about pain. We're doing awareness for the whole month of July, and as July draws to a close, I want to wrap up the body section. So, as we're talking about the body, I wanted to cover off pain. And we've done the mind in the first week and looking at the power of the mind. And I had intended to get started on the soul this week, but I wasn't feeling great yesterday, and last week just got away on me. So running a little bit behind my schedule, but that's okay. And I'm talking now about the body and particularly having a look at pain. If you've noticed a couple of my recent posts, I've put up my new acronym for pain. So P.A.I.N, standing for pay attention to your internal needs. Because I believe that the pain, particularly on the body, and we can get pain in the mind and also pain on the soul, and we can have an emotional pain, but what I'm talking about today is mostly the physical pain. So you can hear Bonnie's going off in the background. She's all excited about something. So pay attention to your internal needs, because I believe that pain is a message coming from your body trying to get your attention. We don't get pain for no reason. There is a purpose in everything, and there has to be a purpose to the pain. So our bodies don't just fall apart, or what would people say? Things just don't happen for no reason. Our bodies are absolutely amazing, and their ability to heal and deal with so much stress, and I'm talking physical stress, so dysfunction and stressors in the body, that we have lots and lots of systems that allow us to compensate for that. We're constantly regulating and making compromises in the body for things that are dysfunctional. So, as I always say, we don't just get diabetes for no reason, for example. There is a message going from the nervous system through the endocrine system, that's all your glands, to tell the pancreas to behave in a certain way. So we can see the symptoms of those. And yes, we have to treat the symptoms. I'm not saying you don't. But it's important to go back and go, how did we get here? How did we get to this point of pain? And what is it trying to tell us? The dysfunction or the root cause is further down the line. So this is what I'm looking at addressing, or suggesting that you really look at, what does that mean? And for a lot of cases, like one of the big ones is inflammation. Why do we get inflammation, and what is inflammation? We need to look into this a little bit more. And next month, I'm going to be going into this a lot more. In the month of August, I'm going to do a big focus on metabolism and digestion. So that is such an important system in the body. Apart from the nervous system and the endocrine system, which I go on about a lot, they're the big messengers. But I thought I'd stopped it there for a second. Sorry about that. The metabolism in your body, the way your body processes what you put into it, is extremely important. And people think it's just about the food, and it's not. We also have to metabolize our emotions and our thoughts and our experiences. But anyway, I'm jumping into next week because it's very exciting. So coming back to the pain. Looking at inflammation, we'll be doing more of that next month. One of the big things that I believe cause so much pain is the dysfunction within the meridian system. And the meridian system is the system where you'll be familiar with the acupuncture channels. People who like going to acupuncture, you're dealing with the meridian channels, the flow of energy through the body. And they go through, they go through the 5 elements, and these are the 5 elements. You'll be familiar with some of these. There's fire, earth, water, metal. This is earth, this is wood. And there's a flow in this. The energy should flow around each of these elements. So it's a bit sunny. I'm a bit squinty. But this is the flow of how our energy flows around the body. Now, you can't have too much flow. This is the nurturing cycle. So the fire, am I doing this the right way? The wood nurtures the fire. And fire, as we know, particularly here in Australia with the bushfires, the fire nurtures the earth. And the earth nurtures the metal. So we get the metal out of the earth, and the minerals from the metal nurture the water, and the water nurtures the wood. You can see it's a beautiful cycle. So this is our nurturing cycle, and this is how we nurture ourselves. I'll be doing a lot more on this next month because this is a big influence in our metabolism. Now, you can't have too much of anything. You can't have too much of a good thing. You have to control it. And this is the controlling cycle or the balancing cycle. So it's important to keep everything in balance. So you can have the nurturing and the feeding, but if you have, so that's also called the feeding cycle, the nurturing cycle or the feeding cycle, but you have to have everything in control. And I find where there's a lot of pain a lot of the time, and you talk to any acupuncturist about this is where we often get pain. And there's been a lot of medical research or scientific research into how effective acupuncture is in easing pain, because it allows the body to flow again. And we've got to re-establish the proper flow and the proper balance. So like everything, we've got to get everything into balance. Okay, I want to give you an example probably of that balance. Last year I had a frozen shoulder, and I've heard about people having a frozen shoulder, and I thought, yeah, that doesn't sound very nice. But literally, when you've got a frozen shoulder, you cannot move your arm. I literally couldn't comb my hair. I couldn't get my shoulder any higher than here. I couldn't comb my hair. I could barely dress myself. I had to start putting my bra on backwards of all things. It was really not good. I had to get friends to wash my hair for me. It was a really challenging time. And the pain was excruciating for the first couple of weeks. Gradually, it goes into the freeze stage where it's just then frozen. So it's not as painful, but it's really restrictive. Anyway, the point that I'm trying to get to is what I discovered was it was all around the excess energy stuck in the fire element. So these meridians in the fire element, there's the heart meridian, small intestine, triple warmer, and the pericardium meridian. All those meridians run through the shoulder, and they go down the inside and the outside of the arm. And particularly the triple warmer meridian's got to do with your stress. It's linked into your adrenal system, into your fight flight. So this was a perfect example of where we had, it wasn't about a failure in the structure in the body. That wasn't what was causing the pain. It was meridian pain, and we had to work with the acupuncture channels. But I had to go further back and look at where was the stress. What was the anxiety and the stress that was causing my adrenal system and my hormone system to go into overload? So when I worked all that out, it did resolve over time. I got it all fixed up mostly all fixed up within about 6 months. So if anyone out there's got a frozen shoulder and you want help with that, then please let me know, because it's really not a nice situation to get stuck in. So that's an example of how the meridians have a huge influence on your pain. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is you cannot heal when you're in stress. It really depletes the ability to heal and recuperate. So what I want to explain is when you're in the fight flight, so you're fighting something or you're running away from something, there's a stress. Whatever that is, it could be a stress at work, a stress in your relationships. Maybe you've got expectations on yourself that you're not meeting. And any of things will cause you stress. If your values are not being met, then you are building up underlying stress in your body. Quite often it'll start unconsciously, and then it'll make itself manifest in the body. So when you're in that fight flight, you cannot heal. The healing happens in the parasympathetic nervous system. We have to get the body back into a healing environment. And that means your digestion has to come back online, and you have to get out of the threat or the trauma or the shock. A perfect example of this is when someone's had a diagnosis of something. If you've had a diagnosis of, like recently, I had a young man who was diagnosed with Crohn's disease, or if someone has a diagnosis of cancer, God forbid. But any of these things where you've had a diagnosis of something, your body goes into shock. And that shock needs to be treated first before you start healing. Another perfect example of this, because you're in that fight flight, I hope I'm making that clear. If you're in the fight flight, if you're worried about something, if you're fighting against something, then you cannot heal. Your body needs to be in a receptive yin healing environment. The other example of this, you hear about it a lot, people who are fighting cancer. If you are fighting something, then you are not healing it. And I think this is incredibly important. So first, we must get over the shock. We need to stop fighting the body. We need to stop fighting our diseases and our dysfunction. We must listen to the body and listen to what it's trying to tell us, because your body is trying to get you to pay attention to your internal needs. It's trying to help you discover where the balance has gone wrong. Why are you not nurturing yourself, and where is the balance gone out of whack? So you need to have acceptance and understanding of the message. Now, coming up, I've got a muscle testing workshop, and muscle testing is one of the most wonderful tools to help you to understand your messages. And if that's something that you think you'd like to do, then let me know, but that just popped into my head. So it's just, I want to encourage you to look for ways to find out what is the message that's coming from your body. What is your pain trying to tell you? Now, I wasn't going to pull any cards on this, but I felt there was a couple of cards calling me. And of course there were. So there's a beautiful card that came from the dragons. There's these mad dragon cards. He looks a bit aggressive, but a beautiful, powerful dragon. So the message from this dragon card was protection. Find out what's most important to you. So this was a great idea. It said in here, it's time to define what truly matters most in your life. Take the time to inventory and assess what is really important. Reassess, reprioritize, regroup. Perhaps it's time to change things up a bit. Ask yourself what truly matters to you. You need to protect what's most important to you. And very often it's the fundamentals of life. So what are your core values? Are your relationships highly important to you? For most people they are. Your children, your partner, your parents, your siblings. But your family is probably one of the highest priorities in your life. So your relationships are the most important. Also health. Your health is incredibly important. So are you paying attention to what is truly most important to you? Quite often we take the most important things for granted, and it's important to come back and stop, to regroup, reprioritize, and reassess the things that are most important to us and give them our attention and give them what they need. And they will have the greatest rewards for you. So that was that little card. Another great, I just love, there's a little poem in this lovely book of cards. This is the Queen of Water. This is a bit like the cups. It's all about emotion and, again, relationships. But I want to close out with this lovely card. The Queen of Water is all about compassion, emotional security, generosity, self-love, and self-care. It's the card of the healer. So it says, this is a little personal affirmation that you could maybe listen to again, or, really take on and listen to the words here. I am comfortable in my own skin. I love and cherish and nurture myself. I am the best friend to myself. My relationships with others reflect my security, in knowing that I am always worthy of love and respect. I heal myself so that I can be the change that I want to be in the world. And so my compassion can inspire others. So how beautiful. I love that. So please pay attention to your pain. What is it trying to tell you? And look at your internal needs. What are the gifts that you need to give yourself? I wish you well. I wish you a day and a week and a month and years free of pain, because you've already given yourself everything that you need. God bless. Take care until we talk again. Thanks for listening. Bye.